So Quiet Zero has officially arrived in Gundam Witch from Mercury, and with it brings arguably the most powerful thing known to their universe as it stands. But with that insane power to more or less override and destroy an entire fleet in less than 5 minutes, comes the potential that it is vulnerable. So even though it looks helpless right now, we know Suletta is going to jump aboard her new Gundam, codenamed the Monster, and obviously things are going to get crazier and crazier, but it doesn't change the fact that Quiet Zero has lived up to the fear that I think collectively the anime community has had for it, that this plan of pretty much giving Eri a free world rather than being trapped in this Gundam body, at the end of the day, it lived up when you can casually have unmanned machines flying around and within less than 5 minutes destroying an entire fleet just like that. You took control. That is absolutely terrifying, and this episode popped the hell off. Now, I do have a full live reaction to episode 21 of Gundam Witch from Mercury available on my Patreon. If you do want to see my full uncut thoughts as I watch today's episode, you can head on over there and consider supporting. This was a pretty oh shit moment. This was insane, because I think pretty much everyone after the end of last week pretty much came out saying, hey, there ain't no way they going back to school. Like, if they would have just sent these kids with bulletproof backpacks and said, go back to your classes, I would have had to say, wait a minute here, you gotta be shitting me. But no, like, everything's destroyed. At first when the episode started playing, I thought my screen was messing up, and then I realized that it was actually the glitchy walls, kind of like having a panic attack over there. We see, like, there ain't a lot left, and what can you do in this moment? Well, you can try to cheer people up, and man, do those tomatoes come in clutch. I was a little shocked at first because I thought the greenhouse got destroyed, and turns out it did, but the idea of having basically a refrigerator full of them, and pretty much going from vitamin jelly and probably just cardboard cutout crackers, didn't really look like the most appetizing of meals, but when your life is still at the very least here, it's better than nothing. What they were doing was really good setup of where someone like Suletta would go after being tossed away, but most importantly, coming to terms with everything. And to have her wear her heart on her sleeve and just lay it out for everyone, there's no running away from the truth. She lays it out saying that I was not the most important thing to Prospera. That was without a doubt Eri. I'm going to break it down for all the people in the crowd here. And she pretty much says, I'm without a doubt, I was never the first daughter. I was never her main focus. I was a tool that got used, and my pleas, I can't go up and talk to her and make her switch sides. Like, they've already made their choices. But she does still want to talk to them. But I like the fact that Suletta's not stupid in this moment. She's not looking at it as maybe I can still change mom's heart and she still loves me equally. No, she's looking at this objectively saying, I do want to talk to them, but I recognize that I was just something to use to get to this point where they can do their craziness. And I think that's really important because it does show a lot of growth and maturity. As much as Mio, as much as Prospero, or even Eri pushing away Suletta can do more harm than good, and arguably it has, the one thing that it has done is it's let Suletta as a character flourish as who she actually wants to be this whole time. She's, up to this point, really just been doing things for other people. Not to say she hasn't cared for people, she's obviously cared for Prospero, she's obviously cared for Mio, but it's always putting their needs above her own, and whether code phrases trigger her to just do everything that goes against her moral compass, or it's just, I want to make other people happy, for the first time, we really feel like she's broken those shackles and really has become who she always wanted to be. And I think it's really nice to see that even in such a horrible situation, rather than putting on a smile and faking it, she's putting on a smile because she just wants to help bring everyone back together. I thought that was really nice. And when you consider the fact that there's so many characters, whether Nico, whether Martin, like, these are characters that some you figure would have more relevance than others, but it's actually impressive how they're writing them in such a way to make them feel like, oh, you actually just feel like a person in this shitty war-torn situation, and the thing that's always made Gundam is the political stories, and most importantly, one of the key factors that has always been impressive with the Gundam series is that what happens to the random civilians, the general people caught up in the crossfire of all the political hell. And I think when you see a school destroyed like that, most of which had nothing to do with all the shit that just occurred, I think this Gundam series is hitting it out of the park. With 3 more episodes left to go in this core, it definitely has me interested because, obviously, pretty much everyone I think was anticipating Suletta would get another Gundam and she would pilot something something else, but I think the way they're building into it is so much more engaging, especially given that the woman who has arguably just as much guilt and blood on her hands as someone like Prospera, building up to Quiet Zero anyway. I mean, for 21 years pretty much, being side by side with someone. I mean, I love how rather than just saying she had a change of heart and she just doesn't feel guilty, like pretty much every time someone throws it in her face, she pretty much breaks down crying on her knees because she does feel like garbage. And it's interesting to see whether it's Ellen, whether it's someone like Gwell, like just the fact that you go from thinking he's just going to be this like, oh, he's going to be this hot-headed bully character who just changes tune after a wake-up call. Like, the journey these characters take is so interesting, especially given that at least half of them, they aren't even close to being black or white, but more so, they grew up in such a shitty environment that they see the way things get done and they take matters into their own hands using what they see and just say, this is what the world breeds sort of a thing. I just find it so fascinating when you just see such a large fleet roll up and you see Prospera, like you knew the whole time she was smiling, but like literally the last thing you see after just how many lives are lost. It's not even just like she rolled up and just like, hey, she took out a few and then said, hey, please surrender. No, she rolled up and just killed everyone. And it's like, hey, Quiet Zero is literally this powerful. It's pretty fearful. It absolutely is. Now, is it going to be indestructible? No, because otherwise, well, next episode would roll out or the episode after and everyone would just be dead and credits would roll before we even got episode 24. But it does make you fearful that something that powerful, the Ariel just connecting in that way and being able to be that insane in the data storm, it's baffling. It really is, because all along it felt like what Quiet Zero would end up becoming would be almost like a weapon of mass destruction. And even though technically what she's trying to do here is to create something that can let her daughter live free in something rather than being trapped in this Gundam body, at the same time, we saw Quiet Zero literally be the reason why an entire fleet got killed in under 5 minutes. That is hands down a weapon of mass destruction, if you ask me. Even if the reason for it existing comes from a place of a mother grieving, it doesn't change the fact that a lot of families have just lost a good number of people and they're never going to see their husbands or wives or kids ever again. This is Gundam at its absolute best, if you ask me. But let me know what everyone's feeling, because we still have a few episodes left of this wonderful Gundam from Mercury core. It feels like all the setup and everything that they were trying to accomplish with that first core has now come to just payoff after payoff after payoff this core, and I think it's delivering 10 out of 10 episodes week after week. But let me know what you're feeling down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, and of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more Gundam on the channel. And as I mentioned, full live reaction to this insane episode is available on my Patreon. While you're there, you'll also get a video shout out. So today we have Dawn, ML, Dude Guy Man, Kyle Kowachuk, and Lezik Sykes. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.